All right, thanks for joining Sensible Politics one more time with your host Greg and
I'm Chris.
Chris. How you doing today?
Doing great, great and getting better.
All right, awesome. All right, so let's get into talking about politics. All right, so first and foremost, we would like to let our viewers and our listeners know to click subscribe, to share, to leave comments, to help the algorithm keep this thing moving. If we get up to a certain amount of views, we start to get some kickback. And by kickback, I don't mean like get rich. I mean like just get enough money to pay for this thing. So if you like what you're listening to, leave some comments. Give us some good feedback, right?
Yeah, give us a review. That really helps us out. It doesn't cost you a penny, but it helps us out tremendously.
Yeah. So look out for us. All right. So let's talk about the debate. Kamala Harris versus Mike Pence last night. Mike Pence was upstaged by the Fly. Fly took over. You've probably seen the Flies to shit reference at least 500 or 600 times, and it hasn't been a day yet. Just saying. The Fly knows. But all right. So, what do you think of the debate? Your great
Yeah,
uncle, 10 times removed, or something like that. That guy.
yeah. So my grandpa claims now. I don't know how true it was, but my grandfather says that we are technically related, but it's like super distant. We don't send Christmas cards in the mail to each other. Never met him. Uh, and so, but yeah. So supposedly we might be related.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
even if I was related to him, I wouldn't be proud. I guess you would be, with you being on that side of the spectrum. But
yeah. But
I would
kids
be
at my
ashamed.
daughter's.
I would be like that Trump niece who hates the family. Like
Uh,
no, I don't want to be associated with those people.
Kids at my daughter's school ask her if Mike Pence is her dad. So,
So, what school do they go to? They need to learn math. That dude is like 70 years old. He cannot be your daughter's dad.
yeah, he would be like great grandpa.
Yeah,
So,
that don't
but
add up.
anyways, but anyways, back to the actual debate. Yeah, Mike Pence, can we get him to step in for Donald Trump in the next debates? I mean, it kind of works out perfect. Donald Trump had coronavirus, so we don't want the 78-year-old man to get it and croak over. So let's get Mike Pence in there and have him fill in, tap him in real quick for him. He was presidential. I mean, that the one thing that a lot of people hate about Trump, which is pretty obvious, is his attitude, the way he talks, the way he yells at people, and all this stuff. Mike Pence is the exact opposite of that, and I feel like that's what everybody's seen. Pence 2024. Let's go.
I'd like to know what Pence's background is because he moves like a CIA agent. Like he's so calculated and he's so I want to use the word polished because he's a great, I don't know, topic dodger. So, but if you're just talking about uh, the character traits and the demeanor of playing the role of a president, actually looking like he belongs there, I guess he does that well. Um, if all you want is some dry, bland, boring ass president, maybe if I look back in the past, every president, maybe you know what, maybe the Republican is just the dry side of politics because Reagan was charismatic, but Bush was dry. But the second Bush was funny. Mike Pence has no personality though. He has no charisma. He's not likable. Like nobody was checking for Mike Pence before Donald Trump decided he's going to be my vice president. And I gotta believe Mike Pence was only picked because he's not a threat to Donald Trump's celebrity or anything. He's not a threat. He's a good Robin.
Yeah,
So I don't know if he's president type. I assume just by the look of things, he's going to be up next, right? I don't see why he wouldn't be. They don't have anybody else there that can take his spot. So I think he's up next, and he always knew he was up next. And he's actually, how old is he? About 60?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, he's not like decrepit.
I think he's 60.
Yeah.
He's not decrepit. I think he's 60. But he looked decrepit last night. Those eyes, what's up with that? He looked like I don't know, like something wasn't right. I thought he had coronavirus. I was like, hold up, was it him or Donald Trump that got it? He looked bad last night. Like bad, like with a fly on him. Like I couldn't vote for a guy that don't feel a fly. You can't let a fly just sit on your head and not feel it. You don't. If a fly, I know you don't have any hair, but if a fly flew in your head right now, you wouldn't feel it.
No, I would feel it, but I mean, yeah, I got like nothing here.
Yeah, I don't
You might
care.
have had.
I
You
would
might have
have
had a
felt
lot of hairspray. You know how you spray some hairspray and it gets kind of hard?
Do I look
You
like
might
the
not have been
hairspray
able to
type?
feel it. You don't rock hairspray, Greg?
Stop it. All right, but let's get to the serious part of it, though. Nobody addressed anything that they were uncomfortable with. Everybody, both candidates were dodging like crazy. Like you ask a question, like I thought Mike Pence was the funnier one because when you ask Mike Pence, you say something like, Mike Pence, what do you think about Trump's reaction to the coronavirus and how he's acting? It's like, well, I think for lunch I'll have a cheeseburger. I'll probably put pickles on it. Maybe a little bit of mustard. But I'm not a fan of ketchup. I'd rather just have mustard on my burger with onions. And while we're at it, I'll talk about fries. You know, like, you talk, like, not even trying to answer the question. Like, if Donald Trump dies, have you talked about taking over office? The thing about, like...
Neither one of them would, because she asked them to both of them, because both candidates are really old, and neither one of them would even come close to it.
Yeah, her answer was probably like, Joe would have never done what Donald Trump did. Joe would have shut it. Like, oh, man. Like, yeah. So, you know, that's what scares me about both of these two people. Say that this is 2024, the preview. If this is the preview of 2024, we're to the point now where politicians don't even bother answering your questions. They just, fuck you, people, you know? It's either me or him, and we're not going to tell you anything. That is what's most striking about that debate last night. To me, that's like my biggest takeaway. The next two candidates, if you think that the two old men were bad, wait until these two young, more political versions of themselves are up next, and there is no democracy anymore. Like, we don't have to answer to anybody. We don't answer questions. The debate is supposed to be so you can answer questions and that people can get to know the candidate, and that did not happen.
Yeah. The one area that I really think needs to keep getting hit is going to be the Supreme Court issue on packing the court, because I guess they found there's no actual cap on how many Supreme Court justices. It doesn't say it anywhere, and the response is if Trump gets this last one through, when they get in office, they're just going to pack the court with more so they can have more liberal justices.
It's the right thing to do, though, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean,
from a political standpoint, where you got shafted on your last pick and they wouldn't let you get it, and then on this one, they flip it and do it the same way the other way. So now you've been robbed of two spots.
Yeah, but when would it stop, though? I mean, we always talk about setting a precedent and then, like, the slippery slope after that. So then, eventually, a different person other than Donald Trump and the Republican would win later on. And then they add more. And then we have, like, 50, 100 Supreme Court justices because everybody just keeps adding more to it.
Maybe.
I mean, at what point does the Supreme Court then just become it doesn't mean anything now? Because we got so many of them. We'll just add more if we're in the minority on this one.
But you don't really have it's really not a court, it's really not justice if it's partisan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only way that they're able to either stop or confirm is if that party has the Senate. And the voters have decided on who's the senators. And so, I mean, that's to where if you own the Senate, I mean, things get done a certain way.
Well, I think you got a
and
lot
it goes back the other way. If the Democrats have the Senate, they make up their rules. Like Harry Reid's the one that got rid of the filibuster to pass Obamacare through.
I think maybe, which I don't think this has ever been brought up, and I don't know if it's ever going to be the case, but maybe you need to adjust the Senate like you have the House. Maybe North Dakota doesn't get the same amount of senators or representation as California or New York. You know, when you got 100,000 people in a whole state, why do they get two, and then these other states with several million people only get two as well? Maybe that needs to be addressed. That the Senate isn't really representative of the demographics of the country.
Well, it's representative of the states.
I know, but there's this number just two, but some states, you can't say all states are equal. But that's the same thing when it comes to the Electoral College. I don't think that Rhode Island should have just as much pool as Michigan. Yeah. Rhode Island is the size of Detroit.
I mean, if we did it that way, I mean, California could have so much power in the federal government because look how many people live there, or Texas or whatever.
But
so then
but the same thing the same thing the other way. Nobody lives in North Dakota, South Dakota. Nobody lives in those places, so they've got power just as much as California or Texas.
Yeah,
but Texas offsets California.
Only in the Senate. In the House, that goes by population. So
that's what I'm saying. Maybe the Senate should be more population based, just like the House.
Yeah, I think they did that on purpose, though. I mean, it was a deliberate...
Because they want to give the states power. I don't think the states need I don't think it's not equal. If it's the United States, why do you still have the division of states? And every state is doing its own thing, and it's like, well, I don't like what this state is doing, so I'm going to move over to this state. That's insane. Because it's a country at the end of the day, you know?
This is just... And you're not the only one to say like this. This is every time something doesn't go the left's way, they want to change the rules. Like it's crazy. Like, okay, these are the rules that we've played by for however a couple hundred years, and now it's not going our way.
Well, the way I feel about it,
so we want to change it.
The way I feel about it is I always want to change the rules because I think that everything's not set in stone for a reason because you got to make adjustments. I don't say like only because they're losing that's why they need to do it. I'll say they need to do it because they need to do it. Like whether the Democrat is winning or the Republican is winning, the Republicans don't mind changing the rules with gerrymandering and making things go in their favor. So, I mean, I think if I'm on the other side, I'm not going to sit there and let them keep on deflating footballs, and I'm not going to figure out something to win because tattletelling don't work. Ask the Indianapolis Colts. It don't make you a champion.
You win on your ideas. I mean, this is the problem with changing stuff.
True. That's not true. Okay, so if you win on your idea, okay, go ahead, finish.
This is the problem with changing the rules because the filibuster rule was changed to you only need a majority. I think it's 51 votes or 50 votes, and then the vice president comes in and votes at the end to pass a Supreme Court justice.
Okay.
That didn't used to be the case. You used to have more, like it was like 60%. Okay? The only reason why that is the case is because Harry Reid did this to get one of Obama's justices pushed through. Well, now, and it was great for Harry Reid and the Democrats at the time because I think it was Sotomayor, they got her pushed through. So they won that on that day. But now we only need 50 votes again. And now it's bad for the Democrats, so now they want to change it up again. But the only reason we're in this position is because of the choices that they made back in the day, and now it's come home to roost.
What do you mean, what choices? Oh, you mean about the filibuster?
Yeah, Harry Reid changed the rules to benefit him, and now they don't benefit him.
But they probably want to change it back. So they probably changed the rules because the Republicans have refused to play in a democracy. They've refused to even negotiate, to even do their job. So, I mean, that you can't say that it's Harry Reid. It's like, no, the Republicans just wouldn't work with Obama. Like, they wouldn't even do their job. So, it's
But when you
it's
change
both
the
sides.
rules, when you're not in power,
I totally get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that maybe the cause of using that abuse of power is because the other side isn't being a democratic type of, they're not working with you. They're not playing fair to begin with. So what do you do at that point? You got to change the rules. You really don't got much of a choice when the team you're playing against does not care about the rules.
I will say though, sometimes when you do have to be a little worried, I think, anytime that you have like a bipartisan issue and everybody on both sides of the aisle is
why do you have to be worried? I mean, I think a lot of issues
getting screwed.
Excuse me?
Because we, the people, are probably getting screwed on that.
Okay, so if we agree on something that we all need something, that means we're getting fucked?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
When the politicians have, like, the Iraq War, when we went into Iraq, it was pretty much bipartisan. There's a lot of Democrats, a lot of Republicans that bipartisan got together and says, we're going to invade. And that was terrible for this country. I feel like anytime that they're not bickering with each other, it's like, oh, well, this is not going to work out very well for us. The Patriot Act, that was a bipartisan that they got together. Like, it's just...
The bipartisanship is done more good than it's done bad.
I think it benefits them. That's why they want to do it. Because it doesn't benefit us.
I think in those cases, that's what it is. But when you talk about things like social programs, when you talk about giving aid to states and, like, even the coronavirus bill, even though the ticket was expensive, it was something that the whole country needed at the time. So they got to be able to, they can't come together a second time. But the first time, it's like, well, they did it because it was the right thing to do. That's why it's bipartisan, Yeah,
it was the right thing to do, but they gave so much money to corporations, which I bet you a lot of those corporations donated a bunch of campaign dollars towards their...
I'm totally in agreement with you. I don't believe that they're necessarily ever doing the right thing in this day and age. I think previously, and decades ago, I think you could come to a bipartisan agreement on something because it was good for everybody. I think, and I agree with you, yes, it is all run by corporations. It is all run by money. All politics is run by money now. So I don't even think we're in a point of we're actually living in a democracy. I don't think we've been in that probably for the last 20 years. I don't think we live in that country anymore. And that's why I have an issue when it's like we come together. When you say if they're coming together, that means we're getting screwed. That's where it's bad at, because they've been taking advantage of us for so long. That's the way, our psyche is. But no, they're supposed to come together to do what's for the good of all of us. You see what I'm saying?
Supposed to be.
Supposed to be. But we are so far gone. And that's why they're changing rules. And that's why you have these situations. Because the democracy level of it is gone. They don't represent people anymore. They represent corporate interests. They represent personal interests. And their party and partisanship. So I guess we can play the partisan game and say, whatever works for the goose, good for the gander. I don't even know what that means, But,
I've heard that forever,
but that's what it is. It's a goose and a gander situation. So if you're a Republican and your side does something that helps them, you're happy about it. If you're a Democrat and your side does something that helps your side, you're happy about it. So I don't think anybody has a problem with changing rules except when the other side does it. Yeah. But I thought it was terrifying though to watch, to me, because it's like when these two get in there, like at least accidentally Donald Trump will give you, some real feelings, tell you how he feels about something. Every now and then Joe will give you some reality of, who he really is as a person. These two people ain't human.
Yeah, they're the epitome of a politician, right?
No, they're worse, because at least a politician will lie to you. They won't even answer you.
I see. Well, I mean, the one issue where Miss Harris really lied a lot about was fracking. I mean, she says we're not going to ban fracking, and there's tons of videos of her saying outright, we will 100% ban fracking.
Well,
So
that's a flip flop.
But she claims that we won't do it, but then Biden and her on multiple occasions have said we will. So which one is it?
It's a flip flop. Whatever we think the public wants to hear today, that's what it's going to be. It's a flip flop. It's whatever we feel like Biden. He said whatever the public says is at the time. That's what we'll go with. So they're flip flopping. That's all it is.
But then what are they going to go with when they're in office, though? I mean, that's the question. That's why we want to know.
But that's like you said, that's being a politician. But that's the epitome of being a politician. But at the same time, that's old school politics. It's just like, we'll pick a side when we need to, and we'll do whatever we feel like it. And that's why it's so scary. Because it's like we don't know what they're gonna do. They won't tell us. We have no clue where they stand on anything.
And if you think about it, so let's say they get into office, since they flip flopped, and this could go for any candidate. It doesn't matter who it is. But say they make a decision. Say they ban fracking. Well, she has tons of videos out there saying that I would. So I told you I would do it. So then they just selectively use those videos. Or the opposite way. So if they don't ban fracking, then they can use videos saying, see, I told you I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because I have videos out there saying either way, so I'm covered.
It's a case of we changed our mind. And whatever you want, when you like this, we'll give you what you want. Maybe, So, but I don't think...
Like, why are you mad we did it? I told you I was going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think that these are the things that are... At the end of the day, each person is trying to appeal to the base. At the end of the day, each person is trying to appeal to their constituents. So, if Kamala Harris goes back and forth on climate change, Republicans just started believing that climate change exists, right? So they're way behind on climate change. So I think no matter what she says, she's still ahead of them. Like I heard Mike Pence say something about the weather is changing last night. Like, whoa, you believe in climate change now? You don't think that this is just God punishing us for homosexuality?
Oh, come on, he never said that.
if it was coming from anybody, it would be him. He would say something of that nature, But the Republicans, the standing procedure was we don't believe climate change is real, So, man-made climate change, no, has nothing to do with us, It's just the weather. It happens, They just started believing that pollution actually affects the environment 10 minutes ago. Actually, just last night, because I never heard Republicans talk like that.
Well, I mean, the idea of solar energy or wind power, all this different stuff, like, I don't see why anybody would be against, like, electric cars, all this stuff.
Clean energy.
If it's cleaner and it's cheaper, like, then why not do it?
It's sustainable. So, it's always there. You don't have to worry about running out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. The question is the technology there still? I mean, we've been talking about battery technology and all this stuff for a long time, and it's like, okay, well, are we getting closer here? So I don't know.
We better be getting closer. How can we not be getting closer? We're supposed to be the greatest country in the world, right? And we can't figure out solar energy and wind. Farmers had windmills 200 years ago.
Yeah. Well, go drive down
Ohio.
US
They still
30.
got them. Yeah, they got wind farms. So the technology has always been there. The interest and the initiative to do it is what's been missing, because too many people stand to lose out so much money because of the other energy sources. Yeah. All right, let's take a break real quick. We're gonna go to a commercial. No, actually,
get your car detailed at FW Detail Garage. No.
All right, cool. So we got the election coming up in about 3 weeks or so.
I think it's like 26 days or something like that. Yeah.
You got it down to the date, man. You good. You should be talking about politics somewhere or something, man.
Yeah. Maybe start a podcast. Who knows?
Maybe. Yep. All right. Yeah, the sun is rising up in your behind you, so it might be time to wrap it up. So, elections coming up. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the debate last night even moved the needle? The needle. Did it move the needle any in favor of one? Like, did Pence do anything for what's this guy, Trump, or did the fly do anything for Biden?
I think this is kind of the theme. I mean, there's these mythical undecided voters out there, right? Supposedly. Which I don't think either one of us agree that there's very many of them.
I don't know how like what are you still trying to figure out?
Yeah, so I think what happened last night, like looking forward, basically propelled Pence as a viable candidate, maybe later on down the road for himself. I don't really think it changed anything. It might have fired the base up a little bit more, but I think at this point, like, we're getting to the time where we just need to have this election, and like people are decided.
And now I noticed that on your social media, you said something to the effect of Pence 2024. I mean, you like a guy who doesn't answer questions?
Well, I mean, one, he's from our state.
So
was
Evan.
My last...
So was what was his name? We had Vice President Quayle, and he embarrassed us. Oh, you don't remember Dan Quayle? He couldn't spell potato?
Well, who was he vice president
Bush.
for?
For Bush. First Bush.
Oh, you see, I mean, I was so young back then.
Yeah. Dan Quayle, he's from Huntington,
I was born
Indiana.
in '86, so.
Yeah, you were probably barely around. Yeah. So he was he was from Huntington, Indiana, and he was doing a spelling bee. He was like a guest at a spelling bee. And they gave this kid the word potato, and he spelled P-A-T-A, spelled potato. And the kid spelled it, and he was like, sorry, kid, you forgot the E.
So he was from Huntington, Indiana?
I think so, yeah, Huntington.
Yeah, that's just right down the street.
Down the street,
okay.
Yeah. He's an embarrassment. So,
okay.
Yeah. I think they got a sign that says the home of Dan Quayle. So,
okay.
So, yeah, I don't care that Pence is from Indiana. I didn't like him when he was here, though, but go ahead.
He's got my last name. So, I mean, come on. How else can I not vote for the guy? Plus, he's on the... I don't know. He was a Tea Party candidate.
Just say it. He's on the right. He's Tea Party. Yeah, just say it.
He was one of the original Tea Party candidates back in the day.
Partisanship. Yeah, if it didn't have anything to do with a party, would you still vote for him? But can he beat Harris in an election?
See, you think, okay, so
the only bad thing about that one is they can't both lose unless unless Kanye West comes in and beats them both. So
at the next election in 2024, do you think that Harris? I think that if Biden loses, I don't see Harris being a viable candidate. I think her only path is if Biden dies. And Biden wins this time. If he loses, I don't see her being a viable candidate.
I don't think anybody's up next. Like you could kind of feel whose turn it is when it comes to politics. Like, well, at least on the Democratic side, you can't tell on the Republican side. But when Obama came, that was shocking because we knew it was Hillary's turn. So he came in, did his little bit of time, but it went back to Hillary's turn. And then after that, it was like, okay, it was supposed to probably be Joe's turn when it was Hillary's turn. So now it's got to be Joe's turn.
Yeah.
And I think Kamala's up next. I think they picked her as vice president because they're running with her. She's the future of the party.
The left needs a Donald Trump type of person.
It's scary for you to say something like that. But they do need somebody. But they need somebody competent.
A blow it up type character. Somebody not in politics. The system's screwed up. It's not right.
But see, that's my thing. Like, usually when you got somebody that isn't in politics, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. What are we going to do? Get Arnold Schwarzenegger? The Rock? I would trust The Rock more than any of these people. And that's a damn shame.
A lot of people have been pushing that out there. I mean,
Rocky 2024.
If he was in if he was in what do you call that, with Kim Jong Un or whatever his name is, I mean, he could really intimidate that dude. Sit down in some negotiations and be like, "Listen here,
Kim Jong Un, you smell what the Rock is cooking."
If that happens, this is what's that movie called? Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Then we're living in it, and this is all simulation, and it's what's the point?
Dwayne Johnson, what will you do about Kim Jong Un?
We just need to start spraying Gatorade on our crops, and
No, he'd like, I take my shoe, this size 11 shoe, I turn it sideways, and I'll stick it straight up his kid.
Oh man,
you wouldn't vote for a guy that says that. All right, so we had another fun-filled episode of Sensible Politics. We didn't get to talk about healthcare at all. I really want to talk about healthcare. I think it's really important with this election. I think it's the most pressing issue. But it may be the only issue anybody's willing to talk about. And the fact that nobody has a real healthcare plan. It's the most important issue right now. So, all right, cool. We'll try this again another time. We're out of here. Goodbye. Thanks for joining Sensible Politics. Like, share, subscribe. Leave comments, reviews, all that stuff, man. Everything.
Please, it helps us out so much. Please give us reviews.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. I'm gonna give the thumb, the political thumb. All right. We're out of here. Peace.